Over the last few days, I have been watching more and more young Ukrainian men living outside of the Ukraine. I've been watching more and more of these young men say that they are returning to the Ukraine. They are going to take up weapons and fight the Russians. There seems to be a lot of young men who are prepared to do that. So I would have a question. And the question is, what is it that you are prepared to die for? Because there is a possibility that you will die. So exactly what is it you're prepared to lay or give your life for? Now you might say, well, I want Romania or Ukraine to be free. You might say, I want my children to live in a free Ukraine. If, of course, you live to have children. So, well, let me give you one simple fact which you need to know. If you're thinking of a free, independent Ukraine, that's not going to happen. It might be a nice ideal, but it's not going to happen. Ukraine, well, you know it better than I. You've got Russia, Ukraine, the European Union, the West. Ukraine will not be permitted to be independent. That's not possible. Ukraine is going to have to be either looking to Russia or looking to Europe. Because Europe is looking at the Ukraine, and so is Russia. And even if Putin were to drop dead tomorrow, the Russians will still have an interest in what's happening in Ukraine. They will want a certain type of Ukraine. And the European Union will, of course, spend more money and resources encouraging Ukrainians to become ever more Western and ultimately join the EU. So, given your geography and the nature of the EU and the situation of Russia, you can forget independence. So you have a choice. Do you go with the EU or do you go with Russia? And the real question is here, what exactly do you want? What if you have children, what do you want for your children? And, and forget about lofty, noble sounding aspirations. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. What do you want? What do you actually want for your children? Do you want diversity? Because as you go closer to the EU, as you get involved, you'll get diversity. The EU is big into diversity. Western democracy, Western society now is totally into diversity. Do you want diversity? Well, of course, you have a lot of diversity already, don't you? You have a lot of diversity within the Ukraine, don't you? That's one of the reasons you have a war. And of course, leaving aside the Ukraine, that part of the world, it's one of the most diverse places imaginable. And we all know where that diversity leads. Ethnic groups being forced to live cheek by jowl with different cultures, different values. If you want more diversity, well, side with the West. You'll get a lot of it. You'll get diversity rammed down your throat. So what is it you actually want for your children? Do you want them to become a minority in their own city? Is that what you want? Because that's what you'll get if you go with Europe and the European Union. What exactly do you want? You want your children to be frightened. Because if you go with the European Union, if you go with the West, that's what will happen. Your children will go to school and they'll be told a whole set of things. And they will be frightened to open their mouth if they disagree. Is that what you want? Do you want your children to be told in your schools by your fine teachers that they have white privilege, that they're born with white privilege, that they are racist? Is that what you want? Because if you go with the EU, that's what you will get. In Ireland, we're now being told our police force and our army is racist. Nobody mentioned this up until maybe 6 months ago. But now you see we have certain ethnic type ghettos emerging. And the police did something dreadful in Ireland. They actually started looking to see what was going on. A lot of gangs, non-white gangs mostly. And the police made the mistake of looking in that direction. And then, of course, they were accused of racism, of targeting certain groups. And now there's a big investigation into the Irish police, and they will, of course, find racism. They always do. Is that what you want? Exactly what do you want? Do you want your children brainwashed? Is that what you want? Do you want your children to go to university and college in an atmosphere where they're terrified to say anything about anything? Because society is splintered into groups and groups and groups, all of whom are eager and willing to take offense at anyone who says anything worth saying. Is that what you want? Is that what you're prepared to die for? You want to die so your sons, daughters will be called racist, far right, and bigoted? Because that's what will happen. Or maybe you hate gay people. Maybe you want to import people into your country who believe in the death penalty for homosexuality. Is that what you want? Because that's what you will get. And if you open your mouth, you'll be called far right. Is that what you want? Exactly what do you want for your children? Not vague notions. Exactly what do you want? You know, it's very easy to die for your country. All you have to do is pick up a gun, point it in the wrong direction, and you're dead. That's easy. And I'm serious, that's easy. I'd do it tomorrow in the blink of an eye if the circumstances were right. It takes courage to live for your country, particularly in times like this. So what do you want for your country, for your children? Exactly what? Do you want them? You want your country to be like England? Is that what you really want? Where entire communities are told to shut up. Shut up, you're Islamophobic. Is that what you want? Do you want your country to be like Sweden, where you have a feminist government, where violence against women is at an all-time high, where women are terrified to open their mouth? Is that what you want? You know what happens if you're raped in Sweden today? You apologize to your rapist. You apologize for your white privilege. You apologize for the colonization that you know nothing about. This is the reality of life in Sweden. Is that what you want? You want to die? For what? How long do you think Ukraine will remain Ukraine within the EU? Yes, it is easy to die for your country. It's a simple thing. Much harder to live for it.